Welcome to episode 31 of Michael Reads from a Book, the series in which I read from a series of books. Today's book is The Maze Runner by James Dashner. Alright. The plot of the book is a teenager named Thomas wakes up one day in a maze with absolutely no memory. There's a bunch of other guys there. A bunch of them, they've managed to do an inverse of the Lord of the Flies thing, where instead of, descending into chaos, they build a sort of functioning society. The whole thing gets a wrench thrown in it with Thomas's appearance, and things have to change shortly after. I'm going to jump into chapter 8. So here we go. The alarm finally stopped after blaring for a full 2 minutes. A crowd was gathered in the middle of the courtyard around the steel doors, through which Thomas was startled to realize he'd arrived just yesterday. Yesterday, he thought? Was that really just yesterday? Someone tapped him on the elbow. He looked over to see Chuck by his side again. "How goes it, Greenbean?" Chuck asked. "Fine," he replied, even though nothing could be further from the truth. He pointed towards the door of the box. "Why is everyone freaking out? Isn't that how you all got here?" Chuck shrugged. "I don't know. Guess it's always been the real regular, like. Once a month, every month, same day. Maybe whoever's in charge realized you were nothing but a big mistake, sent somebody to replace you." He giggled as he elbowed Thomas in the ribs, a high-pitched snicker that inexplicably made Thomas like him more. Thomas shot his new friend a fake glare. "You're annoying. Seriously." "Yeah, but we're buddies now, right?" Chuck fully laughed this time, a squeaky sort of snort. "Looks like you're not giving me much choice on that one." The truth was, he needed a friend, and Chuck would do just fine. The kid folded his arms, looking very satisfied. "Glad that's settled, Greenie. Everybody needs a buddy in this place." Thomas grabbed Chuck by the collar, joking around. "Okay, buddy, and call me by my name, Thomas, or I'll throw you down a hole after the box leaves." That triggered a thought in his head as he released Chuck. "Wait a minute. Have you guys ever tried?" "Tried it," Chuck interrupted before Thomas could finish. "Tried what?" "Going down the box after it made a delivery," Chuck answered. "It won't do it. Won't go down until it's completely empty." Thomas remembered Albie telling him the very thing. "I already knew that, but what about—" "Tried it." Thomas had to suppress a groan. This was getting irritating. "Man, you're hard to talk to. Tried what?" "Going through the hole after the box goes down." "Can't. Doors will open, but there's just emptiness, blackness, nothing. No ropes, nada. Can't do it." "How could that be possible?" "Did you—" "Tried it." Thomas did groan this time. "Okay, what?" "We threw some things into the hole. Never heard them land. Goes on for a long time." Thomas paused before he replied, not wanting to be cut off again. "What are you, a mind reader or something?" He threw as much sarcasm as he could into the comment. "Just brilliant, that's all." Chuck winked. "Chuck, never wink at me again." Thomas said it with a smile. Chuck was a little annoying, but there was something about him that made things seem less terrible. Thomas took a deep breath and looked back towards the crowd up around the hole. "So how long until the delivery gets here?" "Usually takes about half an hour after the alarm." Thomas thought for a second. There had to be something they hadn't tried. "You sure about the hole? Have you ever—" He paused, waiting for the interruption, but nothing came. "Have you ever tried making a rope?" "Yeah, they tried. With ivy. Longest one they could manage. Let's just say that little experiment didn't go well." "What do you mean?" Now, Thomas thought. "I wasn't there, but I heard the kid that volunteered to do it had only gone about 10 feet when the thing swooshed through the air and cut him clean in half." "What?" Thomas laughed. "I don't believe that for a second." "Oh yeah, smart guy? I've seen the sucker's bones. Cut in half like a knife through whipped cream. They keep him in a box for my future kids not to be so stupid." Thomas waited for Chuck to laugh, or smile, thinking it had to be a joke. Who ever heard of someone being cut in half? But it never came. "You're serious?" Chuck just stared at him. "I don't lie, Thomas. Come on, let's go over there and see who's coming up. Can't believe you only had to be the green bean for one day, clunkhead." As they walked over, Thomas asked the one question he hadn't posed yet. How do you know it's not just supplies or whatever? The alarm doesn't go off when that happens, Chuck answered. The supplies come up, the same time, every week. Hey, look! Chuck stopped and pointed to someone in the crowd. It was Gallic, staring at me. Shuck it, Chuck said. He does not like you, man. Yeah, Thomas muttered, figuring that out already. The feeling was mutual. Chuck nudged Thomas with his elbow, and the boys resumed their walk to the edge of the crowd, and then waited in silence. Any question Thomas had was forgotten. He lost the urge to talk after seeing Galley. Chuck apparently hadn't. Why don't you go ask him what his problem is? He asked, trying to sound tough. Thomas wanted to think he was brave enough, but that currently sounded like the worst idea in history. Well, for one, he has a lot more allies than I do. Not a good person to pick a fight with. Yeah, but you're smarter, and I bet you're quicker. You could take him and all his buddies. One of the boys standing in front of him looked back over his shoulder, annoyance crossing his face. Must be a friend of Gallows, Thomas thought. Would you shut it? He hissed at Chuck. And we'll let it go at that. Yeah, it's a pretty standard book, I guess, and it was. The maze stuff is kind of interesting in a closed box, forced community kind of way. And it is nice to see that kind of inversion of the Lord of the Flies trope, where the kids can just form their own thing. The book kind of goes off the rails near the end in a way that did not make me particularly interested in seeking out the sequel, but it's kind of nice to see a sci-fi book that focuses on or a young adult sci-fi book that focuses on a male protagonist. You don't see as many of those these days. Alright, that's enough for today. See you next time.